Hello.
Hello.
Good to be back, man.
We're doing the thing. We're always connected. Why?
Always.
Because we've been connected well before the cameras were rolling. You know, so it's good. It's good, man. How you doing, man? Everything's good?
Everything's good, man. I've been coming up with a bunch of cool ideas regarding fundraising for the nonprofit.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah, bro. So, memorabilia is a big thing now.
Yeah.
There are people who, especially millennials, like our age group, who want to relive or at least have a piece of nostalgia from something they know from the past, right?
Yeah.
And it happens to be that before Gen X, our parents were known to be the generation that grew up in the best times, but actually the millennials are, because we grew up in a time period when we didn't have internet, and we got to live we got to a place where we have some of the best technology right now.
Yeah.
So we've seen the best of both worlds, and because of it, our brain is balanced. And I say that to make a point that I was thinking about ways to make money now for the nonprofit before I actually start applying for grants now in the fall. That the new season is opening up for that. And I thought, I'm in the perfect business to create things and products for people who are collectors and nostalgia enthusiasts. And I started producing some miniature models based on 80s and 90s cartoons and video games.
Okay.
So, for example, have you ever heard of Saint Seiya, Guardians of the Zodiac?
Of course, bro. Bro. Remember they had it in, I remember watching it in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, bro. That's what my memory. Dragon Ball, Saint Seiya, as Spartacus. You remember Spartacus? Did you ever get to watch those?
That one I didn't know. That one, no. Was he a character on there? Or that was a separate show?
He was a character that looked like Jesus, bro.
Really? Okay.
It was a very interesting anime, but it was up there with those classics.
Gotcha.
But particularly Guardians of the Zodiac, I spent the last week working on some models. The five main characters are young boys. There's also Athena, and then there's the main boss, the reincarnation of Hades, who they have to face at the end.
Okay.
So I worked on those characters, made a really cool display base for them. And the cool thing about that base is each character has an individual base that integrates into the larger display base. So it looks like it's part of the environment. So you can actually pop out the characters in their individual bases as a standalone, but then put them together in the display base as a part of the same environment.
So it's like, it kind of like blends into the ground and like the foundation.
Scene. Yeah, it's a scene of like a ruined Greek temple, like it just got finished destroyed because they were fighting so much, and they're just standing around. And it hit me. I said, hold on a second, I could produce these things, the classics, right? Of course I have to go and investigate legalities, make sure that there's no copyright infringement with any of these IPs or anything.
Yeah.
But most of them are not, because a lot of these things are old, and they have an expiration date in terms of, I don't know if you knew this, but a lot of IPs have an expiration date.
No,
and after a certain amount of years that they're done,
it's like fair game.
Like IP. So it's the Guardians of the Zodiac. They're 30 years old.
Wow.
So I have to look into what's the expiration date for their IP for, let's say, you ever seen people that sell things like DC and Marvel that they actually sell it?
Yeah.
That's because those IPs had an expiration date, and now they're open for the public. Like, you can actually sell without getting in trouble.
Okay.
Unless it's anything to do with things like Disney or, you know, that was bought and their IPs renewed.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm going for the classic stuff is because a lot of these things, their IPs never renewed. In fact, they just they got taken out of the market. So nobody owns it.
Gotcha.
But the history of it still exists, and all I need is the history to produce the physical product.
Yeah, you know,
and that's what I'm doing now.
There was a
producing.
There was a movie. There was a movie that that I realized, I was looking it up. It was like an old school movie. Do you remember Kung Fu Hustle?
Kung Fu Hustle, of course.
Kung Fu Hustle. I don't think, like, I don't know if it's because it's from a different country, but when you look it up online, like, normally you could just buy a movie on Amazon, but with this one, like, you can't even buy it. Like, it shows the photo, but you can't buy it. And I'm wondering if it has something to do with the IP licensing agreement, you know. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's why you see some individual. I don't know if you follow the toy collector community. I do, because even though I don't collect toys, at least those type of toys, like the action figures, I still follow that community because I'm interested in seeing what comes out. Because again, we grew up in some of the best times when we had some of the best cool toys.
We had great like lore, and we had great stories, you know, that we grew up with, man. And that were even there before us, like these superheroes, right? And but they developed them, and we had I think that we had some of the best toys, if you ask me. Like, I remember being on car trips, and we didn't have any, you know, devices. We didn't have screens while we were in the car. We wanted screens in the car, but we didn't have them, you know? And I had toys. Like, I vividly can remember, like, a Spider-Man toy, but it had, like, the hinges, you know? Super flexible. The hand had its own hinge. Sometimes the fingers had its own hinge, so it could open and close.
I remember.
The neck,
I remember that.
The neck, the head, you know, the shoulders.
The neck had at least 2 different hinges to make 2 different movements.
With the traps and everything, dude. Like, yo, dude. And then that's all you have.
They don't make those like that anymore, bro.
Yeah, for $10, bro. At most 15.
For $10.
You know, for $10, bro.
And then we had Toys R Us, bro, where we could just go in and get it. Dude. We didn't have Amazon at that time. We didn't have nothing online. Everything
it was in person. It was in person. You saw the box.
Real face interaction. You go to Blockbuster to get movies, rent movies, and you had that experience of holding. Yeah, I still remember the smell of Blockbuster. Every time I walked in there, I was excited to pick a movie. Bro.
Do you remember? Did Blockbusters have carpet, or they did not have carpet?
They had carpet, bro.
I think they have carpet, right?
They had carpet.
They had carpet, bro. What store today has carpet? No store.
Nobody has, and the carpets were always clean too.
They were always clean.
Always clean. I never remember going into a Blockbuster where the carpets were dirty, bro. They were always nice and fluffy, nice and clean.
The only place I could say has carpet might be like a movie theater, you know, like that's the only place now.
Like a padded carpet.
Yeah. But that's how we had it, bro. I remember. It was always something with superheroes. I had Spider-Man, or a Batman, or a wrestler, you know, or a Transformer, like all of that. What you're talking about, like it was the characters, you know, from the cartoons, from the movies, from the shows, a Dragon Ball Z character, you know, like, and you go crazy because you're like, you had these things and you're watching it, and then after you're done watching it, the episode is done. That's it. You're not going back. You're not rewatching it. You know, like, because you didn't have it like on demand. You just had it for the time that it was on TV. You know.
Bro, and here's the thing. Here's the thing about our brain, man. Our brain. I remember Bruce Lee said, we have to be like water, right?
Yeah, to be like water.
And this is a thought I had a while back. Our brain is like water. It is very fluid.
Break that down.
And our brain, if you don't stimulate it, and when I mean by stimulating, I'm talking about imagination. I'm not talking about doom scrolling 6-second videos to get that bump of the dopamine. Not that type of stimulation. That's the unhealthy type. I'm talking about getting inspiration from other things, from other sources. For example, we're talking about how we grew up with great things like that. I grew up watching movies, all sorts of movies, movies, cartoons, and each and every one of them was an experience for me. It wasn't just a film or a cartoon. It was, I dove into that world. To me, that was a universe.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm such a maniac right now with miniatures is because I get to experience that same thing I felt when I used to watch movies and cartoons as a kid. When I start a new project. It's almost, and I don't call it, I'm gonna work on a diorama. I don't call it like that anymore. I don't know if I told you this, but now when I work on a new project, I say I'm about to start a new production.
Okay, that's good.
I'm gonna work on a new set, just like a movie set.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like I work on movies, and the miniatures themselves, those are actors. I'm gonna cast the cat. I'm gonna cast the actors. So I consider myself a movie producer, a costume designer, a actor, the one that hires the actors, and the one that creates the story, the writer.
And the director.
Also, the whole point of the museum is for that, bro. That's why there's gonna be music in the background.
Yeah, man.
So that when people walk in there, it's like they're watching a movie, a still version of a movie, of a story. That could actually easily be translated into an actual story, an actual movie. If somebody decides to pick up on that and say, I would like to make a movie about this. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point. Inspiration, stimulation. If you constantly get inspiration from different things, like movies and films, that's why books are so good too.
Oh, books are amazing.
And you're the perfect person to talk about that, because you read books all the time.
Dude, love a good book, bro.
You see how it feels when you read a book. You dive into that world, into that story, into that content.
Yes, sir.
And it's a very tangible experience.
Yes, sir. It when you're building something, to your point, when you're building something, you sit in that seat of what do you want it to look like. And I'm reading a book right now. I started the book, The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs, and the way that the person wrote the book, and I forget his last name. I know his last name is Carmine, but the person who wrote the book, no, his first name is Carmine. My bad, Carmine Gallo. He breaks it down. He breaks down the presentation like theater, and he says Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And then he does the different scenes and everything, and he's talking about presentations. You know what I mean? Like, so it's that comparison of movies and the world that gets built in kind of like that huge production. That huge production is very real. I'm still working on the website for Fledge, and I threw in a founders section to talk about, like, hey, who's building Fledge anyways, right? So I did a founders section, and in the founders section I talk a little bit about why the name Fledge, and I broke it down into, okay, we got inspiration from a book, The Chronicles of Narnia, and how he was a workhorse, a handsome, and he couldn't speak. He just did the work, But then when he was selected to be one of the speaking horses and to fly. But that's where my inspiration came from, because while I was driving, I felt like the horse. I felt like the horse because I dove into that narrative. you know, and after hearing the book a couple of times, I'm like, okay, I really like the way that this resonates with what I'm building. And whenever you're building something, and that's why I like, you know, talking to you, because a lot of the times when we're in different stages of life and in different stages of building, it's getting the name, it's getting the characters, it's who's gonna do what, you know, and why is it important, and how can I communicate that to the person who is going to be engaging the audience, you know. So we got to get really good at sharing that message. Brother, I'm about to pick up a passenger over here, but this is good, man.
We'll pick up. This is good. Yeah, we'll pick up on that. Yes.
This is good. This one is a clear cut. I'll be putting this up on the Road Book Club, because that's what it is, man. We're
that's
all
awesome, bro. I love that you're doing this series, bro.
Bro, we're building, bro. We're building together, and that's awesome. It's like growing and partnering with people who actually, you know, are doing the thing. And you're definitely, you know, you're doing your thing, and I think that the world needs to know that.
I appreciate that, bro. That's so wonderful, man.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye. That's my good friend Jasper. Check him out. You can see all his work online through Escape Reality Studios. And he does amazing work, so check it out. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening.